Hey everybody, welcome into the Pug and Beans podcast. Today we're going to be having a lot to discuss about, and of course I'm here with Sir Jellybean.
How are we doing, everyone? Good to see you back, and we're going to be mainly talking today about Content Update 5 on Court Arms Gates of Hell Osfront, with obviously the amazing Puggo. Even though he's a bit of a crazy guy, he's very knowledgeable.
I mean, we're both crazy. We're both knowledgeable.
Well, I'm legally insane, so let's lay off the crazy.
I mean,
very disrespectful.
Come on now. We gotta be professional. People are gonna be listening.
Yes,
They're gonna expect real good content, not just constant BS. But trust me, there's plenty of that either way. So, yeah. No, but really, guys, the thing is, we decided we want to do a podcast that was really centered around Call to Arms Gates of Hell Ostfront. And of course, with Liberation DLC coming out, I feel like it's only going to be beneficial to the community to have these open discussions. And so, yeah, Sir Jellybean and I, we just came together and we're like, let's do this, right? So,
it's constructive criticism as well, before anyone starts being that, oh, it's all a bit. No, everything we say, positive and negative, it's all constructive, because we look at the forums and, it's easy for a forum just to get left, but when the developers see or hear people talking, maybe their ears will perk up for the good things, they know what they're doing well, and if things that they've missed or they get wrong, maybe they'll address them a bit quicker, because we all know, we all love Ostfront, but sometimes it's a little bit slow at getting things sorted, and we really want to make the game, it's an 8 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, but we want it to be a 10 out of 10. In my opinion.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we love the game. The whole reason we're doing this is because we love this game. This is a top 2 for me, and yeah, I just
it's top for me.
Yeah,
like
so
most played game now by far, hundreds of hours more by anything.
yeah, and so and from my standpoint, Battle Brothers will always be my #1 love, but this is like my new love. I got a divorce, and here I am, but I still love
Battle
it.
Brothers is my love when I like pain. Ostfront is my love when I like a little bit less pain.
Well, let's be honest. There's always pain, right? But
mainly when Puggo shoots me with a Katusha, but you'll see that if you watch his channel. Just be warned.
Yeah, guys, stay tuned. Well, actually, I think that might have already aired. If you guys want to check that out, we do have a series together. We finished our first season for Conquest. But yeah, so with that being said, then why don't we segue right into it here, right? So we ended up playing. We played quite a bit on our own. The content update 5, and between the vehicles, the little mechanics, the switches, and some of the multiplayer things, as well as the Conquest, there's plenty to talk about here. I guess
tons, absolutely tons.
Yeah, so why don't where do you want to start with this? I feel like
the biggest thing first, I think everyone's most interested with obviously the new vehicles, because that's we all like toys.
Right. Yep.
Shiny stuff, new guns, new bombs, new tracks.
Yeah, and I feel like I know that we've gotten time to where we can actually. We've tried these things out, really our thoughts and stuff. How about we start with this? What do you think is like a shining what's a good, give me like vehicles that you felt really outshined like the value.
The Wesp. I think the Wesp straight away. So I was thinking that it's a grill light, but it's got HE explosive rounds, it's got heat rounds, obviously high explosive anti-tank and armor piercing, and it's got massive range of its HE rounds, but its standard rounds are about 180 meters. So it's also a tank buster, and it's fast firing. Like I was expecting, the West just to be like a crappy version of the grill, but actually it's like, oh wait, I actually prefer it to the grill because it's fast firing, and yeah, it's light, but yeah, the Wesp has really been like the top one for now, and it's quite a reasonable price. Yeah, the Wesp it's just come out of nowhere and blown me away.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was talking with General Shiba about this. Was the fact that one of the things
he is a wanted man, by the way.
Yes, he is very very much wanted. So if you're listening to this, yes, you're wanted. But the thing is I was talking to him about the BT-42 for the Finnish faction, right? And I love that range that it has. It's like it's past the boundaries of what you can see. And when I think of the West, I haven't had a great deal of time with the West. That's probably the least I've used, unfortunately to say. But it's one of those vehicles where it's like, yeah, you may not have the armor and stuff. There's a little bit of arc in the range, and it's going to be devastating. That caliber is nuts, especially when you can get it on day 2, I believe. I think you can get it on day 2, right?
Yeah, it's 360 meters, I think, the HE rounds, or 355, which doesn't seem that long, but when you think about it, most artillery pieces don't go past that. So, and it's mobile. So when things go wrong, you just turn around and go.
Sure.
They don't, like most artillery pieces, things go wrong, you're dead. Whereas the Wesp, no, just run away.
Yeah.
Bye bye. And then you just fire. And also, it's reloading while you move, which is massive.
Now, did you spend any time? With the? I'm gonna bring it up. The M3 Lee. Yeah. Did you?
Yes.
Did you spend time with it?
I love it. Love the M3 Lee.
Oh man, I was wondering what you were gonna think about it. Honestly, we have not had. So you guys know, we have not had real in-depth conversation about these vehicles.
We haven't actually mentioned, since our video, we haven't mentioned it all, actually, because we played some skirmishes, but we haven't actually talked about, we're too busy firing Jag Tigers at things.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. Oh, by the way, the Vesp, I believe it's called the Vesp. That's what one of the guys was saying. Yeah, so the Vesp is 7 points. So you can get it by the defense mission, which in a defense, getting the Vesp behind the point is disgusting. I just want to get that out there.
I think it's like, I can't remember, but it has a lot of HE rounds. It has 5 heat and 5 AP, but it comes with like 24 HE rounds. So it's not like the Grill. I think the Grill gets like 11 or 12. I can't remember, but you're out of ammo pretty quick. Whereas the Wesp, I know it's less bang for your buck, but actually turns out a lot better, because most of the time, if you need 10.5 centimeters, isn't going to kill it. 15 centimeters not needed. Like anything bigger than that, you've normally got a problem.
Right.
If you need a big,
Oh, absolutely. So,
but yeah, what was the other vehicle? The M3 Lee.
Yeah, so the M3 Lee was one that really stood out to me. I can't say that I'm surprised. It's a medium tank, of course. The thing is a honking
It's an
beast.
early medium as well.
But it's an early medium, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the thing that this can sound weird. The best thing for me is the turret at the top, because you've got that little. It's a 30 caliber machine gun, but unless an AP run literally breaks the cupola, or the commander's, is it cupola? Cupola, how's it pronounced?
Cupola?
Yeah, you need a little bit at the top of the hatch. It's a commander's.
Yep.
But basically, you don't have to worry about like small arms, so you can constantly kill infantry. Whereas normally, you've got your gunner on top of the tank, get shot, you lost a man. It's pain.
Yeah, if I find so I've used it extensively already. And the thing that I've noticed, so I had my criteria or my issues, my criticisms, what I meant to say. I've had my criticisms of like the SMK, and the reason I say I'm going to bring up the SMK in relation is because you have the 2 turrets. You got the smaller turret on bottom, the 3.7. You have the 7. Oh, geez, I should know it right offhand.
It's a 76.2 is the main gun.
So yeah, so you have these. You have the top. You have the bottom. The bottom, the smaller turret has a machine gun on that. Now, when facing it on its own, it does not use. It feels like it doesn't use turrets correctly. Like the AI is like, okay, you're in control of the top turret. It picks and chooses randomly if it's going to do anything, right? Or going to a machine gun, it needs to understand to switch. And when you have it by itself, like I said, it's kind of a 50-50 deal. So I was really worried about the M3 Lee because of that. You got the top turret, you have the front, you have the turret underneath, and then you have, of course, the big gun on the side. And so how is that actually going to play out? Well, when I was playing, I found that it was really well adjusted on its own. The top turret had that little thing we call, what was it called? The vest, or not the vest? That top turret spinning around the 30 cal on top there.
Yeah,
you just
commander's
said it.
Cupola. It's an anti-aircraft turret though. Yeah, it's an actual anti-aircraft gun.
And so that thing saved it. It saved it multiple times. It actually turned all the way around and hit on its flank, killing a soldier that was running up. And I just was like, that one thing that it did, the quality of life of this tank, was incredible.
And I think the other thing as well, I was surprised because when we did the testing was, so unlike the Char B2, which hulls guns really weak, the armor-piercing capability of the M3 Lee, it went through a Panzer IV, it went through the front of a Stug. I believe it went through a Panzer IV, is it not the D, but it might be the D with the 50mm front armor, but it went straight through it.
Yeah.
Which means it's not like the Char B2 where its armor-piercing rounds do nothing, you have to use the HE.
Yeah.
The M3 Lee can reliably take out mid-war German tanks, which I didn't realise it could. I thought it was a bit weak. With that 37mm on top, basically, you could take out a light and medium tank at the same time.
Yeah.
So, if you have two or three, it's not as good as a Sherman, but has their own merits.
Yeah, I haven't. There hasn't been anything that I haven't been able to kill with this thing so far. Now, I did not face a heavy tank,
I challenge you with my
so
Jagtiga then.
let's see. And that's the thing. I got to get right up in its ass to take one of those shots
But
and
say
actually do
that the
something.
M3
But
Lee though, the cost is a lot lower.
oh yeah, it's
I don't know
totally
what,
manageable.
obviously, we haven't seen the American research tree, but it's
Right.
going to be quite early because it's a very early war tank.
Mm-hmm.
It's early to mid. You know what I mean? It was used, I believe, in 1940 or 41 in North Africa. Was it
Yeah.
1940? So
So, yeah,
it's
it's like
mid-war.
yep.
It's
It's
early
about that
mid-war.
time.
So it's when people are oh the Americans. No, the Sherman was a lot later. The M3 Lee and the Stuart kind of spearheaded most of that.
Yeah. Well,
And so the M3 Lee's, and it's going to be early on the research tree, so you're potentially going to be really kicking the crap with it.
now in terms of like the Soviets and just based on like the time that you have with like to get to that point with the M3 Lee, it's going to cost you 13 points. Now, we did talk about this in our previous video, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but the cost of it, depending on how you're starting your missions out, if you were to take like a research tree or like a research what is it called? Like a research mission in Conquest.
Yeah.
If it's a tier 2, that's 11 points on hard difficulty. For the economy, I believe it's based on economy, right? Because I was doing hardcore for my actual, So it ended up, So with 2 stars, that was 11 points. 11 points practically shoot you right through to it if you're not if you're investing in the small T series tanks. So that is pretty cool. But no, I just found it was so effective, and the closer you get with that cannon, it just rips right through. It's done.
I think as well the tank's not particularly. It's not a weakly armored either. He's got decent slopes and decent armor. I'm not saying it's going to stop like Panda 4's main gun, but it will go up against Panda 3's. It will take light weapons, and also you got to think I always say this: the American doctrine was superior firepower. So the idea was you pump out more firepower before they can even touch you. And the M3 Lee does that because you've got 2 main weapons firing plus 2 machine guns.
Yeah.
So like by the time they've shot back, you've probably crippled a tank or taken out the AT gun. Whereas if you've got something like a Panzer IV, it fires its main gun, it's got to reload it. The M3 Lee's got the small gun firing constantly, bang, bang. And then the whole gun's pretty quick as well. Like it does reload quick, which we noticed. So it's a lot of high explosive power. Like I think people are going to realise how good it is, I think.
Yeah. I think the only thing I would say to this, I've lost 2 of them. And I feel like there's 2 side hatches where the soldiers are coming in and out, which becomes, it seems like a weak armor point. And
they might have a few weak armor points, but I think early war it's going to dominate that tank.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a fun tank in the first place. It has its own capability of protecting itself. But when I did get hit, no, what I was going to say is when I did get hit though, for the 2 times they got hit, it was like an instant explosion, and which does make sense.
Ammo racks.
Yeah, which does make sense because of the ammo racks, right? So that's the only thing I'd caution with.
You got to think early war against the Germans. The Germans have really crap tanks up until like most of the tanks have less than 30 armor max up until like mid-war. So the M3 Lee's actually really does outgun and out the Germans to a crazy degree. Like even the is it the Alst F1 or the F2? It only has 50 millimeters max, but a lot of the German tank, a lot of it's 30 mils. So people are the German tank's got a big gun, but the glass hammers. Until you get to the better Panzer IVs and the Tiger. Or the Panther, the German tanks are really, really light. They're designed for mobility. So the M3 Lee will actually beat a lot of the tanks which you think are strong.
Sure.
Yeah, it may not have the 7.5 centimeter German gun's more powerful, but the M3 Lee, in my opinion, it's like a good combination of everything, which is better.
Right.
It just looks a bit rough.
Yeah, it does. It's a chunky boy. You know what I mean? Like
it's proper American. It's had 4 McDonald's.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. It definitely hammered. It put some Big Macs in the back there. Okay. Like so let's go with just because we're on that topic and stuff, and also guys,
Stuka for Zooks.
Yes. I was getting real quick.
Stuka.
Yeah, the walking Stuka. No. The only time that I actually used the walking Stuka, the reason when you said it, I was thinking, did I actually use it after the fact? I used it when we were testing it out.
Yeah,
so
it's fantastic.
So I'm I can't say anything bad about it. I mean, I
I'll
have
tell you
nothing. I
why.
mean, I can only imagine, but yeah,
The biggest thing's
minimal.
not even the missiles. When I practiced with it, the fact is it's still a fully working half track. So you get the 3-man crew. So you get the driver, the 2 MG42s. You get the 6 30-centimeter rockets. You also get 12 in inventory. So you get 18 of them. You can also take a 9-man squad. So you get a fully working half track with all that firepower. Because I thought, oh, there's no way you'd be allowed a squad in it. No, you can still transport infantry with it. So whilst it's reloading, you can run back to your deployment, pick up a squad, come and drop them off where you need, and then take it back and then fire off. Which to me is awesome.
That's a great point.
And you can also keep 2 or 3 guys in it, and then every time you set up to fire, you drop them out, dig them around, and then you've got a little bit of defense in case like a tank tries to come up and attack you or something.
Yeah.
So it is that kind of shocked me because I thought for balance issues they wouldn't let you get in the half track, but they just did.
Oh yeah, it's something else that's really weird is how accessible it is to get to. Like,
it's not tough.
It's not tough to get to it, and it's a dead end branch too off of the research tree. Like so once you get it, there's no like ties to have to get to it, which is a pain in the ass when it comes to the French tanks and stuff to get to that.
Yeah, you have to do 2 full trees to unlock that, which we did, which cost a fortune.
Yeah, it cost a fortune, and let's be honest, we used it for a mission, right? And
a lot of people will do the half track's light. Yeah, it is, but just like the French tank, it reloads on the move. So unlike the Nebelwerfer, or its other name, which I'll not say, but you'll know if you watch Puggos.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. Fair enough.
But that has to be deployed, and then you have to tow it away. It's very risky. Whereas the Stuka, you can fire, drive straight back, kind of like the West, hide it, reload, come out and pop again. You know what I mean? It's a mobile fire weapon, whereas a lot of artillery pieces, like the Nebelwerfer, you deploy it, and then it only takes a mortar to take your crew out. Like we've lost a few, haven't they? Just the odd round goes straight, and it bang explodes.
Yep, and that's that's all she wrote when that happens. Yeah. So also, I'm gonna give one more. Anything else you want to say about that one? The Walking Stuka?
No, I thought Walking Stuka's brilliant. Yeah. And the only thing is, it's having the 12 rounds in the inventory. Probably not historically accurate, but good for balance because it is pricey. I think it's about was it about 1,100 or 1,300 manpower?
Yeah, I can check here in a second.
But it's a lot.
While I'm checking,
it's pricey.
Yeah, while I'm checking, guys, one thing I do want to say is let us know in the comment section below what your favorite from the update 5, which one is your favorite, which one have you enjoyed the most, and then also the cost of the Walking Stuka is 1,100. So
it is pricey, but it's kind of like, think of it like this: a Nebelwerfer is normally about 900 to 1,000 ish. So for a bit more, you basically get, you do actually get, I think Nebelwerfer also gets similar ammunition, but it's not historical to have 12 rounds in and take a full squad. But for balance issues, if it only had 6, it wouldn't be worth it. So it is really good. It's got a nice mixture in history and balance. But obviously, just be careful because 1,100, it can still get taken out by an AT rifle. So there is that to think about. It would only take a small guerrilla force to take it out, and it also looks awesome. It's probably one of the best looking half tracks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit more pricey than the Nebelwerfer at 1,000. So, but the other vehicle I want to bring up, and this one to me is like so stinking low key, probably the best thing they added out of Content 5 in my opinion, and that's the new supply truck for the Germans.
Oh, you sneaky son of a gun!
That was good, wasn't it? It was good. I know.
Yes,
I cannot stress this enough. Like, the firepower of the Germans.
We were actually shocked.
Yeah, like legit shocked. The cost of it, the fact that it doesn't have any more whatever the points are called.
So it's six pop cap, whether it's the normal truck or this super duper truck.
Yeah. So like literally you're getting the biggest bang for your buck because you can fit it in. You can take one of your supply trucks out, put this thing in for 50 supply. Whatever. I want to know what the currency is called. Because
so there's manpower,
munitions,
and research points.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking because we're putting it. So, anyways, well, the thing is like, again, it has more. It's the same human cost or the cost for a call sign as it would a supply truck.
So it's the same population cap, so
right?
6 pop cap.
Yep.
But it's what is it? The standard truck's 200 manpower. This one's 350.
Right.
But for the cost, you get what 2,000 supplies over 1,000.
You get 2,000 supplies,
and it's not just the fact that you're getting. It's not just the fact that you get more supplies; it's because it costs the same pop cap, which is important. Because later in the stages, you might need 3 or 4 supply trucks if you go heavy on artillery. Like you can eat through that so quick.
And so now all you need is like 2 of these things, and you can do some nasty work. Or if you're just resupplying the battlefield in general, like this is again something that you can take advantage of.
And they are Opal Mutileers, so they're slower, but they've got tracks, which I do believe means they do a little bit better in the worst terrain. So there's pros and cons to that, and they look cooler. They look a lot cooler.
Yeah. And we were definitely wondering when we saw this thing, we saw all the crates in the back of the truck, and we're like, you don't think.
Well, I thought it was Puggo stealing the jelly beans, but I'm still dubious.
This is actually, you just backed away from my half track, right?
What you looking at my half track, boy?
Oh my goodness. Also, guys, with that, we're gonna go to a quick commercial break. This is going to be our sponsor today, and hopefully you guys do enjoy.
Paid Shadow Peasants, bringing you the absolute best in free-to-play pay-to-win, coming to a Switch near you. Feel like a loser every day? Living a loser life with loser peasants, pay to win. Throw some dough at it. Better gear, better stats, better dress-up stuff. 500 million downloads or something. Better Paid Shadow Peasants.
All right, guys, welcome back, and hopefully you did enjoy that one. It's an old sponsor.
Did you use the Battle Brothers sponsors?
Yes, of course I did. If you guys haven't seen Battle Brothers, go check that game out. It's incredible.
Awesome.
Besides that, so now we're going to start with Conquest and talk about what's actually changed there since we've had time to actually delve into it. And then from there, we're going to go into suppression mechanics. And then finally, we'll talk about the multiplayer and what's going on there. I do want to say before we go any farther, though, if you guys are enjoying this podcast, if you want to support Sir Jellybean and I and what we're doing, all we need is just a like or a comment. These are the things that help the algorithm, and then that way, hopefully we can, hopefully that Barbara Studios will check this out, and we can make some progress.
We can get them involved in the conversation, because I think it'll. I don't know. I think they obviously listen to what the community says, but when it's in a forum, it's easy to read something and not always kind of take note. Whereas if you're being told it tends to go in a little bit better, I think.
Right. And so,
especially if Puggo's screaming in your face. He's
absolutely.
A scary guy.
Yeah, I started making all kinds of weird noises, man. I even get a little confused.
So it's a bit like it was like Man Bear Pig.
Yeah, like Man Bear Pig, sure. All right, so with that, then let's talk about the Conquest then, because we're big Conquest guys. We think that I would venture to say most people that play the game are spending their time.
85% by what people say, about 80 to 85% are basically pretty much all Conquest. When I first played the game, I just played Conquest, didn't even play the campaign missions. Right.
Yeah. I still, the only reason why I haven't done a lot of the campaign missions is just because they're so long.
And not in a nasty way, even though they're historically accurate and they're quite fun. Some of them were broken for a while, some still are a little bit, and you do get shoehorned into certain ways to do it. Like, obviously it's a thing, but there kind of is a right way to do each mission. And if you try and do it your way, it just makes it very... Obviously people have seen me play the missions, and sometimes it's like a 3-hour thing, and you're like... Oof.
Yeah, it can definitely be a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it, but I would like a little more freedom in those. But yeah, that might be for another time at least. So what we do know at least is that there's a lot of Conquest players. I mean, that's generally what people come and play this as. So I do want to say this, and maybe we'll do another video for this, but you know what, I gotta ask you this, and what would you want Conquest to look like if you could change something in Conquest?
So like my dream.
What's kind of your layout? What would you want to do?
Trying to stay plausible as well, not because everyone goes, Total War book thing. Let's be honest, we've got to stick to actually what the game is. I think first of all, play any faction you want and choose. So if I want to do Finland versus Germany, I should be able to do it. Doesn't matter. It's Conquest. Map wise, be able to select exactly what maps, and it's not because you want to get the Tavosta maps, the Finnish DLC maps. Most of them aren't that good. There's a few vanilla maps which are awful, and it's not because they're not necessarily awful to play. Some of them just look awful. It's just I don't like the style of them. Like, has anyone played the snow maps where the snow's so bright it burns your retinas? It's true though. Like you play, and you're like, holy crap, I'm going half blind. But I think the biggest thing would be, so when you move from map to map, and like you just select the map and it's back and forth.
Mm.
The slight change they could actually do is actually have the map set. So when you look at the map, it would show you what the maps are, because like a real life map, the towns don't move location. Because sometimes we play when you're attacking, defending, you're attacking somewhere else and you get the exact same map. You're like, wait a minute, I've invaded this place 4 times. I've took it 4 times. Are the Russians still in this town? And you don't actually get a good cycle of the map. So in my opinion, when you do a very large conquest and there's, let's say, 20 points, they should all be 20 individual maps, and it should go based on whether you push forward or back, which map you get. So that way you shouldn't be playing the same map over and over. You should get a good... Because I think that's one of the biggest things. That if you watch my Conquest series, I think in one of them I played the same map 5 times. I think I didn't lose a single battle in that Conquest. So even with the attack and defense, the max I should have played any map would be twice.
Yeah.
So it's not... People might not think it's a big thing, but I've also got to think, what can Barbed Wire Studios actually implement? Because it's all good trying to change the entire game, but let's be honest, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, I actually sympathize with that. There's to have the maps, at least like a randomizer that like, okay, this map has been used. Now it's gonna be locked up for the next 5 matches.
But like when we've just taken on the attack, and then you get attacked by the AI. If they attack the same place you just
sure. Then you need to defend that specific spot. Okay, sure.
But I think you should be able to turn that off as well, because some people just want random maps. But
yeah,
I know they said they're going to have like the thing where you can select. Like now, you can select if you want the vanilla maps or the maps with the DLC.
Okay.
But being able to actually take the maps out would be massive, because let's be honest, is it Carvola, the one with the factory and all the rocks and the... Is it Carvola?
Yeah, dude.
No one likes that map. Even its own mother doesn't like the map. It's horrible.
That map is rough.
I hate that map so much.
I've had that map so many times, and like going against Finland is a pain in the ass on that map because of the trees. Yeah, you forest the trees. They get stuck on that lake, and so you get the big cannons. They'll shoot across the map at you. It's like,
it's the only time in Conquest, if I go out defense, I'll start and just restart to get a different map. I hate it so much. That's why they've probably never seen me play it, but I really despise that map.
Yeah, I like it if I like it a little more if I'm facing the Germans or Soviets. But
you just went down in my book.
Well, no, and that's fine. But I'm telling you though,
fine.
That is fine. That is fine. Get over it, huh? Love you. All right. So the issue, the thing is like, at least when there's tanks and stuff going through, and if you're playing it with more soldiers on that map, it feels a little more tactical because they can't see as well. You know what I mean? So there is like a real tactical portion.
I don't know. It's a small map as well, and a lot of the spawn points, especially from the flanks, they're literally on top of you. So there's nothing worse when the enemy AI, because obviously when things spawn, they get about a 5 seconds immunity. People, when they flash, they're invulnerable. So there's nothing worse when an IS-2 spawns and it's invulnerable.
Yeah, no, that's...
And you just go, well, I guess I'll die.
Yeah, well, that's the end of that. That was fun. I mean, yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. And I do think that some more quality of life things would be helpful, like the map, like you just said. If you attack a map, you defend that. If that's the defense point, you should generally have that. Now, if you don't want that map, you could have an option to say, no, randomize. Yeah. And maybe even a way that you can randomize it where you can say 3 to 5, like hold this map off for 3 missions before it resurfaces, or like 5
But remember,
times,
when people do Conquest, they could have it like, you play authentic, where it's the Candlestone rules, but it should be a custom option, because the thing is, even though we record for people to watch because they want to watch us beat on hardcore, it's a game that's designed to be fun. Yeah, there's historical elements, but it doesn't matter. Like, as long as if the player wants to make it like you play the same map 30 times if he wants, I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he should be able to. Like, if someone says, "I want to play Carvola 30 times," I love it. Great. If they're enjoying it, it's their product. I think that's the thing. Developers are like, "Oh, well, we'll make the game too easy." You can always cheat the game. You can use mods to unlock everything if you want. But the main thing is let people customize it as much as they want. That's why things like Skyrim, for instance, if we just go this segue off, why do people love it? Because you can mod the hell out of it and do anything you want, basically, or you can go crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not games where they limit what you can do aren't as popular, whereas games where they just say, do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's good, and that's why, hopefully, with this American DLC, the Liberation, and the changes to Conquest, they might think, oh, wait a minute, let's just let them customize it. Because I think it'll bring a lot more people in. They go, oh, wait a minute. Like, the biggest thing, if we can do America versus Russia, amazing. If we can't, disappointed.
Yeah. I think they're time, place, whether or not they do it. If Barbara Studios is out there, this is a thing that the sentiment of what was just said by Sir Jellybean is something that I have heard across this community nonstop for years now. And so
all we want is be able to punch a Sherman's cannon through a Russian tank. It's just a simple dream.
Yeah, right. It's a very simple dream. But yeah, so with that, I would say for my side of it, I understand you said the total.
Whoa. We don't want your opinion on here.
No. This opinion's very important. Okay,
everyone could be raised. Could be raised now, quick.
If I understand the total war aspect, like you were saying before, it doesn't necessarily have to be like that.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think it has to be moving across the map but something more simplistic of taking territory to me would be a lot of fun. I would like the idea of that where, maybe you have I don't want to steal too much from other games and how they've done it, but I feel it's just such a basic map, man. I just feel like I'm picking between these three things.
You could do it better, like you say, instead of it being just lines and dots. If actually, imagine, because all the places are from real life map, right?
Yeah.
But obviously they can't, but let's say they just had a map of the territory, like an operations map, and you had all the places placed. And like you say, it could even be imagine you actually built the units. This is my dream. You built the units and moved it around a bit like a real-time Total War.
Yeah.
And it went off proximity. Now, that would obviously be a massive overhaul. But I'm guessing that's what you're saying, because if they start tailoring the map, well, the sky's the limit, because we're not asking for a Total War thing, but all we're asking is something to make it so it's not just going from point to point.
Right.
There's a bit of a...
Right.
Maybe even if this sounds stupid, what if you could, power drop onto a point near the back and take it, and then you have to hold it and try and link it up or something?
Right.
It sounds a bit random, but I'm sure they could add it.
No, but that's the whole thing. You can add that criteria into it. You can add there's reinforcements and support when you're in Conquest, and there could be another option that allows you to strategically do something on the world map. I think that it would be really cool, but also, one of the things that I'd like to see would be, how there's the 3 stars, right? For the longest time, I didn't know that the stars didn't actually matter in terms of what was coming at you.
They're supposed to matter, but it makes no difference, in my opinion.
Yeah, it hasn't made a difference.
I've had 1 stars that throw way more than 3 star.
Yeah, I understand the bonus rewards were better, but again, it didn't make a difference. It didn't feel like it made a difference. If you want more rewards, you're gonna have to fight for those rewards, and it may suck. You know what I mean? But that's
just to jump in.
Part of it.
I think one thing with the stars, first of all, make it 1 to 5. There's a method to my madness. Really tailor the resources on it, but make it also what defenses they get. So 1 star, nothing. 2 star, couple of MGs. 3 star, maybe MGs and minefield. 4 star, they get semantic. 5 star, literally a stronghold. So you go in, they've got MGs, they've got concrete bunkers, because they could do this. They did it in Conquest Enhanced, but I'm not talking that hard. But you could have it so maybe when you go in, there's minefields all over the point, the first point or something. There'll be the odd AT gun hidden in the tree line. There'll be an actual, so if you want the big resources, you really have to go for it. Obviously, you wouldn't have that just straight early game, but there might be certain points on the map where you go, right, there's the stronghold. That's going to be a bugger to take.
Yeah.
Because right now, they've got all these cool defensive structures. How cool would it be if, one time, there was mainly only 2 objectives, but they've got a massive trench line, and they're all dug in, and that you're going to probably take some losses, but the rewards are going to be worth it.
Yeah, something like a campaign, how the campaign missions are set up, where they have and I understand, again, this would be a huge overhaul, it'd be something, but I just want something that makes it feel...
They could literally drop some of the campaign missions in and just wipe the thing and have it as random, random defenders. It'd probably still work.
But yeah, I just want something that keeps it fresh, where it keeps people going, holy crap, can't wait to see what story comes out of my next campaign. Because now the pieces are there. You're gonna have the US coming in, and like they said themselves,
late as always.
Right. But hey,
America.
better late than never, right? So I mean,
No,
again,
I'd never. We'd have won. Give us 8 more years, Britain would have won. We didn't need you.
oh what gosh.
All you gave us was tins of beans.
Oh my gosh.
Beans. Trust me.
Churchill, where you at?
Churchill, he's gone. I'm sorry to tell you.
I'm sorry to tell you. Yeah, that's.
He's not been with us for a while.
Oh my gosh.
Wait till you hear about Patton.
Oh. So yeah.
Oh, just one segue. I think this is a simple one they could do. Random events, and I don't mean like falling asteroids, but when you go into the map, maybe it'll be like, right, random event, there'll be a thick fog. Obviously, fog would probably be a bit of a pain in the ass in the game, but it could even be like, right, you're versing an enemy paratrooper regiment. There'll not be many vehicles, but expect enemy with AT weapons, expect ambushes, or it could even be, as you deploy your waves, it could be like, oh, this would be a bit tougher to do, but you've suffered some mechanical stuff. One of your tanks comes in, the transmission's gone, you have to repair it. Or the enemy, as you spawn in, maybe there's only one defensive objective that says in 5 minutes' time the enemy's going to launch a counter-attack on your position. So you haven't got enough time to take the point, but you go, right, I've got just enough time to dig in and get ready for this. And like maybe, let's say the Germans, the war, a few BT-7s of 40 infantry are going to push into your deployment zone. So you get a little bit of time to organise.
I could
something like that.
I could see. Here, I'll give you this. I think it would be a good idea if it was like some radio comes through saying, enemies are engaging on your position. You need to bunker in now. You need to like set up now. And like you're forced in the moment, like you might be driving down a road, like the vehicles will be in a line or something, or
that'd be awesome,
or something. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, you have 5 minutes. You can see the timer before they're about to spawn. I want to see a timer. Like I want to see that timer. Yes. But the thing is, I think you're gonna piss off a lot of the fan base. Personally, I could be wrong.
It'd be optional.
If all of a sudden
it'd all be optional.
Well, right, but I mean, if all of a sudden, like, your engine's broke, and all of a sudden, like, there's this random ass attack from behind, and you know what I'm saying? Like, something that gives
Hans has the attack from behind, which is solid. But what I'm saying, not from behind, but more like, so like, one, I think the easiest one to do, because they have it in the game, it could literally be on the attack, they could say, or on the defense, enemy paratrooper plane spotted.
Sure.
Not a massive amount of airstrikes, but 4 or 5 paratrooper planes come in, they drop the troops maybe fairly away from your position, but now you've got an attack from the front and there's 30 or 40 paratroopers somewhere in your lines.
Yeah.
Not too much to kill you, but enough to be a pain in the ass.
That would be cool. It'd also be cool if it was unique to factions.
Not Conquest Enhanced levels though. I don't want 900 troops to kill in wave second mission. I don't want to get PTSD or anything.
Right. Just something I think it'd be something that could be unique to the factions and stuff, and I'd make it a criteria of like 3 different things that could happen per faction, because of the fact that Finland, what are they going to have? Like, all of a sudden a bunch of mortar team just spawned in on the edge of the map. Like that shit would be annoying compared to like a airborne whatever comes flying in at the end if you're facing the U.S. or maybe there's a lot of things that you could throw in there, but it could be like it could be devastating, and not all things are going to be created equal. But anyways, just something along those lines would be cool, and I'm definitely down for that. I just want Conquest.
Spies.
Yeah, I just want Conquest to be more diverse in what could happen. Because I see the same maps. I understand that it looks a little different right now, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, it's not like crazy.
Liberation, if all the maps are good, could completely knock us out of socks. If they, obviously, 25 Conquest maps come in. I will say one thing. There's some maps on Conquest that aren't on multiplayer, and some that are on multiplayer that aren't on Conquest.
Yeah.
Some of those multiplayer maps are big enough for a Conquest. Why are they not on Conquest? Some of those single-player maps are big enough for Conquest. Why are they not on Conquest?
Yes.
It's not particularly difficult to do. Obviously, I can't do it. I'm thick. But the developers are smart. You've got all those assets waiting there, all those maps. It'd probably save you spend quite a bit of money and time. And if all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, these 20 maps that aren't available are now available, it's free update. You'd be like, holy crap, people would probably give you extra time to make the DLC. They wouldn't be moaning all the time. It's like, oh, we've had a big, and it'd probably be quite simple. Maybe I've got that wrong, but I'm just saying there's a lot of maps in multiplayer. I'm like, why isn't this in Conquest? This is like we played Courtyard earlier. Is it Courtyard?
Yeah, it was Courtyard.
That's not in Conquest. And it's a really good map. And it'd be awesome.
Oh, it'd be so much fun.
It's big enough for at least. Obviously, I know sometimes there's more objectives, but they could tailor the maps to have so many objectives. Like, oh, this one's gonna have 2, this one's gonna have 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what would be really cool too is if one of the the domination. I don't know if you played domination and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I like domination. That'd be cool. Yeah.
It would be cool if it was one of those things where the map was a little bit longer, and you had to control a point and then move forward to the next point. You had to go through all 3 points in order to capture the area. You know, maybe not diverse where a random point is showing up and
but like
they're constantly
rolling
switching.
Front line. So like instead of saying attack the points when you want, maybe it's like, right, there's only 3 objectives, but you have to attack this one first. And if you try, if you try and go past it, I don't know, like just you get hit by the Hammer of Dawn or whatever. But like it'd be quite cool if no, you have to attack this one first. So it sounds stupid, but maybe it's like a real life battle. Like, no, you can't just go around. We need you to take this point first. It's priority. Yeah. It's come from the general. It doesn't matter if it's a good idea. The general said it. Do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, so with that being said, that was kind of like a little bit of a wish list thing. There's a lot of things that could be said, guys. Again, what would you like to see in Conquest? Let us know, and we can have more discussions later on about it. But let's get into the update 5. What has been coming into Conquest? One of the things that stood out to me first and foremost was we were talking about how the research tree, there's so much stuff. There's so many points that need to be invested. To get to the first tiger, I think is like 36 or 40 points, somewhere in there.
It did put me into a small coma when I saw the Panthers were put in front of the tiger. I was displeased, let's say the least.
But what I have found, and even to that point though, it's like now that you know that you can get so many freaking research points from the missions, like 11 research points with 2 stars, like holy crap, man, that was wild to me because I was able to get to really strong things early on. Really,
the only thing is you have to remember, if you're going to do a combined arms force though, and not just rush one of the trees, it still is a hell of a lot to actually unlock stuff.
Maybe. I understand that, but honestly, I haven't had that real issue. I do understand, man. I'm telling you right now, I've done 2 conquests now already. One, I'm on my second conquest. The first one was Finland, and now I don't know why. I told you this before. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was just like, I'm going to try Finland. And so
it's because he's a thief, so he blends in with them.
So then, not only am I only capturing the Soviet equipment, but then my second conquest now is being the Soviets, which I'm literally just using the same equipment that I was stealing on the battlefield. So I don't know why. Don't at me. I get it, but like when I was playing the Soviets, though, to get to the M3 Lee was not. I mean, I was there instantly. It felt instant by the second or third match I was there, but in the meantime, while I wasn't blowing all the points to get it, I was using the excess points to get more call signs, to get more soldiers, which we'll get into the soldiers stuff in a second here, but generally what I'm trying to get at is, you don't have to front run 11 points off of a 2-star research quest into the thing you want. You can use like little tidbits because of how much research points you get per level. Or per attack defense.
And to be fair, I guess it does make it kind of on the hard difficulty. It is good that it does kind of keep us away from. I will admit this. It's good that we can't just rush the heavier stuff. Like the only thing I'd say is, I've done a lot of long conquests, and you still don't unlock things like the Jag Tiger or King Tiger unless you speedrun them. I do wish. I don't know if they balanced it better, but I do wish further in the longer conquest they just kind of near the end just unleashed research points on you, just like here's 100. Because by then, you've probably got 4 or 5 missions left. You just want to bring out the super heavies. You just want to bring out the things that are going to make, the enemy cry.
Yeah. The only thing... Well, when you say that, like, here's the thing. When you say that, I'm thinking, that sounds pretty cool, but I personally want to work towards getting those things unlocked. This is just me.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, in a very long conquest with 30-odd missions, I've had it before where I haven't even got close to the Jag Tiger.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And I get that, but I think you can, if I had to make a guess, I'd say you could get there a lot faster now. And if you wanted to try a different campaign...
No, it's more.
11?
It's more points.
If 11 per...
But the problem is, with the thing is, how often the research mission comes, because it's still randomized.
I've gotten quite a bit of them. The one thing I haven't done is gotten
just beware, kids. Always beware. Puggo's offering you jelly beans. Always beware.
You immersion killer. No, but I feel like I've come across them quite often enough.
No,
and I understand
if they're more prevalent, then I will concede the point. But beforehand, like sometimes I'd be like 4 or 5 missions, and I'm like, this is a research point desert. Like,
but don't you feel like a big portion of this, or like what matters, is when you go into a conquest or you're selecting a mission, the very first thing you're looking for is a research attack.
Yeah, that is a shame as well, because I remember playing a conquest where I wanted to play the most fun maps for the viewer, obviously, making being a YouTuber. And I was like, but I need the research points.
Exactly.
So I'm like, oh, once again we're playing Hanny Jarvie. And it's like, people like, you play this map like 7 times. It's like, yeah, because the research points keep appearing.
I need the research points, man.
And one of the early builds, I'm not
tapping
joking,
your arm here. I just need the IV put right in there.
I think it was when the finished DLC dropped. I swear to God, the finished maps just wouldn't go away. It was like, I played the same map 4 times. I'm like, why are they still here? Did you come in? It is like, I think it was just a miscode or whatever. But but like I say, I think one remedy they could do is maybe just like, as you play so many maps, like, when you get 5 days in, they just chuck you some research points. Like, oh, commander's seen that you've done well in your campaign. Here's some research points and some munitions. Because that way, because I think it is a bit randomized, but that way you can say, oh, at least I can move down. People might not like that, but I don't think research points is breaking the game. Like, if you really want to, like I say, you can always use mods to cheat. Like, it's nice that you can get the fun toys, especially for newer players. I know they play on lower difficulty, but you might want to play on the harder difficulty, but also have more research points. And at the moment, I know you can change the economic difficulty, but it's hard to actually do that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm waffling a bit, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get what you're going for there. I mean, I feel like this is going to be one of those things where I don't know that you'll ever get it perfect, but...
Well. I could get it perfect, but
all right.
I'm simply a god of the bean.
Yeah, he's the bean god. Oh, God. Anyways.
Hail to the bean, baby.
Yeah, hail to the bean. But, I feel like, there's going to be indifferences on how these things are going to work, or whether or not it works best for you, type of thing. Like, what you want out of it.
My ideal game is not the average person's ideal game, but
yeah,
I think, obviously, though, I agree with you on pretty much every point. Like, you definitely speak in the mind of the community. I don't think there's many people who are like, oh, I think we got enough research points already.
Yeah.
No, we've always wanted more.
Yeah, it's going to be, we'll just have to see, because things could change. We talked about that earlier. With Liberation coming out, we could see a new reworked research tree. We could
also
see
don't know,
a lot of different
things.
You
might know this. Are the German factions being split between German normal and German Western? Because obviously, if you don't buy Liberation, the German tech tree is going to be set how it is. If you buy Liberation, there's going to be some DLC exclusive vehicles, which changes the tech tree. So I'm thinking there must be, because it's not just like a few vehicles, there's quite a few German things coming in Liberation. So it must be a separate faction, because it's really going to change the tech tree quite a bit. I haven't seen the new tech tree. I don't know if anyone's seen it on any videos or anything. Maybe you can enlighten us, but it's going to be a very different tech tree. Whereas obviously with Liberation, it's just the Americans and Germans now getting new stuff in that. The Russians and Finns don't get anything in the DLC as far as I can see. They just got it in the update 5. So I imagine we may see a Western German front of separate factions. So you have 2 German factions maybe. Yeah.
I am curious to see what would happen in terms of, like, as the US, are you going to be able to face Finland?
I've heard no, but if they're smart, they've said yeah, because I tell you right now, everyone wants to do America versus Russia. Everyone wants obviously to do America versus Germany. Everyone wants to do Finland versus America just because it'd be funny. But also, everyone wants to do Also, why can't you do America versus America? But I don't care what anyone says. Like, I'd love to be just like, you know what? I want to see 30 matches of Sherman. It sounds stupid, but it'd be quite cool. Like, all right, I want to verse my own units. Just see if I can do it. Because imagine like you're the Germans, like, haha, I've got a tiger. Oh crap, they've got a tiger.
Well, yeah, and I think it would be interesting too, also to have, like, okay, we all know the British, based on Wolfpack had an Enigma had a interview with the devs, and literally one of the things that got brought up was why the U.S. and over British, and it's because of the market and because they need to make money and so on. And obviously they don't make enough DLCs to where you have to be prevalent. The game has to be prevalent, it has to be at the forefront, right?
I mean,
and so
I think I'd just like to jump in though. Puggo said months ago that this was awesome. I would also like to claim I've been saying for about since I started the YouTube channel, if they bring the US in, it'll make the game better than Men of War 2.
Yeah.
And many people said I was an idiot, and Puggo also said it, and I'm sure many people disagree. We've been saying this for ages. I'm taking this claim because we definitely did.
Yeah.
We both said it, and I've been saying it to people like, oh, if they bring the US in, it makes the Western Front, and everyone was like, no, it's Gates Hell Ostfront. And I was saying, I don't know if I spoke to you ages, I was like, well, who are they going to add? Hungary? Maybe. But
why?
The fact is, well, exactly, because it was Ostfront, but they kind of hemmed themselves in with the title. Right, but the Western Front is always, let's be honest, Band of Brothers is more popular than the Pacific. Band of Brothers is more popular than Stalingrad films, and the Western Front, Saving Private Ryan, all this, you know what I mean? It's top tier for people playing. They want to see D-Day. They want to see Germans getting shot with Thompson machine guns. It's just what it is.
Well, yeah, and to that point, I want to speak also on that because, you know, I remember a long time ago I had a post on Reddit and I said, because we didn't know, this was back before Finland was announced, and I got asked that, whatever, and I said, I would really like to see the U.S., and they're like, didn't you, I mean, you know what Ostfront is, right? It's the Eastern Front. You gotta, blah, blah. And I said, I understand that, but, like, you are literally carving out a massive gaming market. Regardless of how you feel about the U.S. faction being brought forward, like, it does not matter. You need a faction that's going to pull a massive gaming market. Well, you need money. Like, you can't go year after year like
as
that.
Well, they missed out on the Eastern Front anyway, for one thing. I know the game doesn't work that well in major urban environments because of how close quarters it gets. But we didn't see any. I know there's a few multiplayer maps with Stalingrad, but we didn't see any massive built-up towns or cities. You get the mission street to street in the campaign, but you can't go through all the buildings. You can't. It's quite locked down. So, in my opinion, the most interesting battlefields from the Eastern Front: Stalingrad, Leningrad, Kursk. You saw a little bit of some, but you didn't see any major urban maps for like Conquest where you could literally spend like an hour fighting through. Whereas the Western Front, the French towns, the beaches, you go see all the major iconic locations. So when people say, oh, it's Ostfront, it should have stuck to the Eastern Front. No, because if they wanted to stick to the Eastern Front, they shouldn't have done Finland. They could have gone further into Russia. They could have done a full Stalingrad campaign. That would have been far more interesting, in my opinion. And they could have added, there's a lot more vehicles and units they could have added. They could have added, you know, special Russian units, special German units. They could have added lots more. There's lots of other variants of vehicles they could have added as well.
Yeah.
I just think, like you said, in my opinion, Finland was the wrong choice. Disagree with me? They should have gone Ostfront, Western Front straight away.
Yeah.
And Scorched Earth was a fun DLC, but it didn't really add that much.
I think it's cool that they went unique, but if it takes a whole year for a new faction, that's not a good enough. That's not a good enough plan for revenue. And obviously, they're doing the right thing.
Western Front though is an absolute, because they're adding so many maps. I think once they've got these out, you could see Britain within 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, because you've already got reskins that could easily be put in. They obviously did that with. Yeah. They've already done that.
They're bringing 500 new skins with the DLC as well. So they've got a lot of work in there.
So they've set themselves up for possibly a closer release, but they did say year to year they want a faction per year, you know. So I think up to 4 years is what was stated. I could be wrong, but anyways,
the 2025. So there's a lot of time left.
Yep. So anyways, with that then, guys, let's go into because we're rolling right through that. Let me go to one last thing on the Conquest aspect of this. And these I'm going to tie these two together for the sake of time. First off, you have the call signs, and the call signs went from 10. So it was originally 50, 60, 70, 80, and then 90 in terms of the call signs, right? Per call sign. Now every call sign is 20. So it goes from 60, 80, 100, 120. You see what I'm saying? So my point with it is, like, you can pack these things out. Now, where I'm going to tie in the next topic, and we're just going to smush it together, is the fact that the tanks, some of the vehicles actually got downgraded in points. I call it unit points. We have different terminology. I hope you guys catch that. He says pop cap. I say unit cap or unit.
Mine's correct.
Get over yourself. The next, and then in terms of the currency, I don't know. I am the best. But so what I'm trying to get at with it is the tanks ended up going higher. I know one of my favorite vehicles that I never pick because of the actual unit point is the scout car, the M3A1 E1. Yeah, anyways, the scout car.
It's kind of like it sounds daft, but when you get to the Panzer IVs and then you get to the Tigers, well, I think the Panzer IV was about 25 points, the better ones. The Tiger was 34. Well, the Tiger's infinitely better, can kill things, last longer. You can either have 3 Panzer IVs, let's say Panzer IV J or whatever, or Panzer IV, is it H? I can't remember. I'm off. Or 2 Tigers. 2 Tigers is infinitely better.
Yeah.
So the pop cap balance on some of the vehicles just made it at a certain point, you're just like, there's no point bringing them, which meant everyone's list basically becomes Tigers. And, you know what I mean? It got a bit samey.
Yeah, and see, that's where it gets kind of weird for me because, like, okay, so some of the soldiers, I feel like they've become more accessible for these larger caps per, or like unit points, unit cap, whatever. Now I'm getting my words all mixed up with how our terminologies. But the thing is like, if you can get way more soldiers on the battlefield assisting tanks, and I feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like the game is pushing towards stop using just tanks. Like, you know what I mean? More strategy. Well, real quick, because people are coming in, and I've noticed this. People come in and play this game, and they want the tanks. They want to play the Company of Heroes style. You know, they want to go in with heavy on all these tanks and stuff and just roll through, and then they're getting blown up, they're getting frustrated, and they're walking away because the micromanaging is so high. And when you have these soldiers and all the things that they can do individually, like, I am not saying that's a bad thing. I love it, but there has to be a way to relay that to your consumer. And so making it more accessible and cheaper to buy units, a mass amount of units, I think is only more beneficial and makes the tanks more valuable. It's hence why the actual unit cap for the tanks are generally higher. I mean, you talk about, let's say the T-60 series, I always go to the Soviets, but but let's say the BTs or the light tanks, the light Ts series, you're talking about units that were originally 14 unit cap. Now they're 17 and 20, you know, as you get to the higher quality. And it's like, you have, like, in my opinion, it's a welcome change. I personally like that. I've heard from one other person that they hate it. So I won't talk about them. I'll let them speak themselves down the road. But what is your kind of, like, with all that being said, I like it. I think it's a very well improved change. It follows suit with the research points as well to get to certain tanks and like outfitting. But what is your final thought on it what it is right now?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you totally there. I think leaning more into the infantry is the better option anyway. Obviously, people will have seen me and Sheba's infantry on the campaign to see if it could be done. And we've already said infantry was always too expensive. The fact that they've kind of made infantry more tenable, to me, is better because there's nothing worse than at the end. Like, we've all seen me do it. You have a King Tiger, you just drive it up. Mm-hmm. You get to the point where it's a lot better if you think, wait a minute, I need to support it. And like you say, the new players, if you say to them, look, infantry's cheaper, you're going to take some losses, but when there's that AT gun, instead of just sending your tanks forward and getting frustrated, like you say, send your troops up, recon, engage, flank. Whereas right now as well, before the last update, I guess, sometimes infantry was so expensive, especially early stages, you might only get 2 squads in a tank.
All right.
And that you literally couldn't risk sending, like I remember before, sending the German tanks forward just so you can machine the enemy. You can't risk losing infantry, which it's World War II, unfortunately, like, infantry expendable.
Right.
Which is,
so I agree. No matter how high the cap was on those, like, I get a really good quality infantry, right? Yeah, and then I'd just be like, well, you know, what's the point, honestly? Because if they get killed.
Fallschirmjäger used to be 24, and when you think about this, they're about 400 manpower, 24 each. Right. So 2 Fallschirmjäger would fill out most call signs, or 3 when you get to late stages. So they're 10 men. And they get a few weapons, but actually they don't even get Panzerfaust, do they? It's just great. You know what I mean? They don't even get Panzerfaust straight. So, right, Fallschirmjäger, Panzer IV. I'll take the Panzer IV. and I'll take loads of cheap infantry like Blur Division or Veteran Riflemen, or Gross Deutschlands maybe, but it basically put you off. I know people say, oh, they're elite infantry. They're entire Fallschirmjäger divisions. You should be able to play as an elite infantry force and be able to fit it in.
Right.
And also in the DLC, there's literally missions where you play as there's whatever Fallschirm, I think it's the third Fallschirmjäger or something. So they've got to make it like workable because there were entire elite units that worked together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It does fit.
Well, and I found myself starting out my campaign where I got, so being the Soviets and whatnot, I'd get a bunch of conscripts would only cost 9 unit points, and then I would get a boatload of the AT detachments and stuff because of the fact that they not only are they cheap, but they don't you can get a crap ton of them. So now you have a way to take out tanks. You got a way to, you have like a real diverse squad on top of like recon units, because I always love recon.
Yeah,
but it's
actually
way
that's
more.
another thing.
Yeah, it's way more accessible. Like it
I
feels
tend not
good.
to use recon because later in the missions it feels a waste of unit points or pop cap, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Whereas now, if it's more balanced, it's like, oh wait a minute, having that 10 points in recon. Yeah. Whereas at the moment, well, if you've watched some of our latest series, we went tanks only pretty much. But look at it, put it this way.
Yeah, speaking on that.
What is it? 10 points for a Puma.
Mm-hmm.
A standard rifle squad is a shoots in at the 18 points.
Yeah, what are you going to pick?
Puma.
Exactly.
But we had 5 Pumas rolling around at one point. Like, it was insanity, but it bloody works. And also, and people say manpower. What are you normally drowning by the end of the campaign? Manpower and munitions. Pop cap, you can never get more. Yeah, you can unlock the call signs, but you can't just keep going. So eventually manpower just becomes expendable. Especially if you capture it. Like we kind of messed around in the campaign a bit, but if we'd have captured everything we wanted, we could have had like 30. I've had 20 to 30,000 manpower by the end of the campaign. I'm like literally could throw King Tigers away. Like, I'll send it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, so we're both in agreement that hey, we like the change in the cost of the tanks.
I'm simply just going to disagree with Puggo on principle. No,
that's fair. That's fair, Beans.
Who you calling Beans, you son of a gun?
Listen here, you Sir Jelly Nut. Okay.
You know what? I know where you live.
He does. I know where you live. Well, we've shoe-holed each other. Rock in a hard place. I'm glad we could do that.
Wait, wait a minute. Is that the FBI at my door?
What the hell are they doing over there? Get off the island. We're blowing it. No, okay. So anyways, so the next thing here, so we're both in agreements of that. Obviously, the tanks having a higher cap, yes, it makes it feel like there's more weight to having a tank on the field. It makes it feel like you can actually have soldiers and more soldiers, and so that's huge. And then the next thing is, well, let's kind of roll out with the suppression mechanic. We both have tested it out. We listened to what people had to say, because we know that
sweet baby Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, we get it. Well, I'll just say it from my point. We ended up doing the update video. We used the whole squad to hammer down on the land while as Sir Jellybean came across.
I see who you love.
Yeah, dang right. But so he comes running across. We pepper spray the ground. He rolls the soldiers around the side. They don't prioritize them. We ended up doing half squad using suppression. The other half was defending, and the results were dampered. Now I will say, obviously, the update did say that it was soldiers behind cover, that when you use suppression, it's supposed to force their heads down behind the sandbags. Now that fine, but we have done more expensive. Yes, we've done more extensive work on it, and I'm gonna just say it as is. And I could very well be wrong in saying this, correct. But if I was to use an SMG and I used a F6 on the sandbags or on a soldier, right, or on the sandbags, let's just put it on the sandbags, because if he ducks, they're not going to shoot. You are going to nonstop until there's no ammo left, firing at that position. What it's supposed to do, without hitting the soldier, they don't drop. But if a bullet does stray and hits them, they immediately drop, right? The suppression mechanic, however, on the flip side, is supposed to push them down regardless if you hit. So, with that standard in mind, obviously, Sir Jellybean, in between the words, is throwing his opinion. I'm going to let you take the floor on that, because I know you've already released a video on it. So
I'm just going to say it, mate, right? first of all, the mechanic I don't think works. Now, if anyone says to me you're doing it wrong, that's fine. But all I'd say to you, if it takes this much effort from people who, like, I've played a lot of Oz Front, Puggo's played a lot of Oz Front, he's an intelligent guy, love you, man.
Yeah.
But if it takes this much to explain how it needs to, oh no, you're using it wrong, then it's not an effective mechanic. It's already a micro heavy game. If I have to literally like, oh yeah, you're doing that wrong because it's not a simple thing like, oh, you're repairing vehicles. If it's this much effort to make it to work, it doesn't work. If it takes me 10 minutes in a game to get to, oh look, you didn't click on the exact sandbag in battle. I'm sorry, I was getting shot in the face by an IS-2. I didn't have time to. It just doesn't work. And also, we tried it with an AT gun with 2 T60s at the side. It's in Puggo's video. Go watch it. It's content update 5. It didn't prioritize them. It just look. I think they did say it was work in progress. Maybe I read that. If so, fantastic. But it doesn't really do much now. Fair enough, they're going to develop it. I respect that. But I'm still over the opinion, put it in the game when it actually works or serves a purpose. Now, I suppose it was being asked for, but I just hope it wasn't much effort to put in, because they could have used this to fix some other things. If it was a lot of effort to put in, bit of a waste. But I'll put it this way. In the game, suppression doesn't really work. As I said to Puggo earlier, units aren't set, so every man's technically individual. There's no actual suppression mechanic like Company of Heroes. Even if you direct control soldiers, it doesn't matter if you're getting shot at. The AI runs through fire anyway, as we've seen. They're suicidal. The game kind of works as it is. And then people say, oh, suppression doesn't really work. No, it doesn't. But when units take damage, they get prone. I don't think you're ever going to get a proper suppression mechanic in unless you do a massive overhaul. And I mean, like, it'd be colossal, because it would change everything. If all this, like, I don't know if you've played Steel Division 2, there's kind of like a morale system where if your King Tiger, for instance, gets smacked by AT guns but they're not penetrating, eventually they'll use morale and retreat. That's kind of like a suppression mechanic. Gates of Hell, that just wouldn't work. Because if all of a sudden, if your unit's being hit but surviving and just falls back, it'd probably break your entire game. So I don't see how they can make a suppression mechanic work in game. I think the biggest thing they should concentrate on, just segue, getting fire on the move to work correctly. That'd be far better use of time. But
absolutely.
Suppression mechanic doesn't work. If I'm doing it wrong, please prove me right. Release a video or tell me. But I know some people have said, oh, use it with artillery and it's a 60-second attack round. That's not suppression. That's a 60-second attack round. Doesn't work. Barbed Wire Studios don't like me. I challenge you to a duel. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, no. And and I want to echo that too. Like my tests were more thinking that I'm going to use an MG. I actually used an MG with a ammo crate behind the guy. I actually was using behind a bush. I wish I would have recorded. When I saw that Sir Jellybean ended up putting his video out, I was like, okay, there's no reason for me to do this, because the echoed thoughts, and again, guys, go check out his video, challenge him to. If you feel indifferent, he will duel you to the death. But also, know that, like, if you're going to put a debuff on an enemy for 60 seconds, okay, fine. If you want to do a cone, attacking the area type of thing, like just bursting fire, and there's some sort of, like, they have to lay down, and it can cause, like, a panic type of thing, kind of like in Company of Heroes. You know, you could have that device, but I just don't know how, like, there's a lot that goes into that. Like, there's so much that you'd have to change. It'd be difficult.
Ostfront kind of, people won't like this. People are like, oh, it's crap that the AI is suicidal. Actually, it does work, because if you double-click sprint and your infantry will literally run through machine guns, as we know, it works because sometimes it's kind of like, right, we need to Panzerfaust that Tiger. Or bazooka that Tiger. We're going to run through those machine guns and lose 6 men, but we're going to do it. And people say, oh, well, that's not realistic. The game's never going to be truly realistic.
Right.
We're at the point where if you go too realistic, it gets unfun. So in my opinion, I don't know, I guess people are like, oh, I want more. Go play Conquest Enhanced if you want realism.
Yeah.
And everyone dies to one shot. It's not really that fun. It's fun to watch and watch me cry. But I think just suppression, I would segue it, just leave it, or take it back to the drawing board. In my opinion, there's so much better things.
But I want to say also, you don't have to be unique about it either.
No,
I mean, here's the thing. I think that's kind of the issue. Is like, I feel, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like they're trying to be unique with the mechanic to make it work and more simplistic, because there are so many micromanaging things that you do, and for like guys guys that know the mechanics of the game, of course we're going to have an advantage if we're facing someone or showing someone that mechanic. But if the mechanic isn't working properly, you don't use it. You know, it's just
going to release a video trying to explain if it even works, not if it's effective. Like, this is how repair works.
Right.
I released a video expression. It's basically like I even did the MG thing like you. I set up an MG fine or something. I was like, I was even trying to be kind. I was like, look, it kind of worked.
Yeah.
But I will say this: they've added it. Fair play. It was a free update. You don't have to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to use it. No, don't have to use it. But it's constructive criticism. We're not saying anything against Bye Studio.
If it's something you want to invest in content, we just want to see it work and be fleshed out properly.
And I just think it's a waste of the time. Like, I think they've got, it's a big game now actually. With Liberation coming, don't worry about suppression mechanic. If anyone's going, oh, suppression mechanic, just make sure the game runs smoothly and make sure the DLC is good, and we'll be happy. Like, because let's be honest, last two DLCs are okay, but this DLC, in my opinion, it's like a second game really.
Yeah.
I know it's the same game, but it's gonna be massive. Like, I'm excited.
I look at this. I've been telling other YouTubers that are in the space, I've been saying, like, get ready, gear up, because the market that's not here is going to finally arrive, and the question is going to be, the jury's out as to how effective it is now that we're years in. And don't get me wrong, the content is all there. There's a lot of good, and we don't know what's going to happen, because I've seen the hedgerows now, for instance, in some of those maps where literally you can't get into a section unless you go through a specific area. You can't burn out the hedgerow and get through. And
I believe you can use tanks to clear the blockages, can't you?
I've watched two people play now, Shermanator and who's the other guy?
Wolfpack?
There was one other person. No, I don't think it was Wolfpack.
No.
Well, maybe
Enigma?
I don't know, but they burned the hedgerows out, and he wasn't able to break it, and so it like the enemy was forced to go through kill zones, and I'm worried that, like, there are going to be things that, like artillery. We all know let's just go to not to go too far out there, but one of the most annoying things in this game is the fact that, and it's fine because we can do it too, right? The user can do it too, but the AI, as long as a soldier can see you, the artillery can see you too, instantly. And so that artillery hitting over a hedgerow where there's only one way to go through and it's a kill zone is going to be maddening as long as they can see you. And so, yes, it brings in, like, more use for, like, the support unit or the support equipment, for instance, like the mortar strike, I'm trying to think of the heavy mortar strike, the medium mortar strike, all the artillery strike, all these things, right? Yeah, like this is going to add in the recon planes. It's going to be huge for that as well. But, like, my thing is this: if this does not work, if this doesn't hit the fan base or gets people into the game, it's a scary thought. But I don't believe that's going to be the case. I think there's going to be a lot. I think the U.S. market is going to come forth. That's what I'm saying. Is I believe. I'm just saying. I'm looking at two sides of the coin. One side of the coin is way bigger.
The fact that Puggo was not given the DLC 6 months early. Travesty.
Yeah, I'm American. Damn it, America.
I'm American. I had a cheeseburger before I was born.
No, but I would like to say this. I will say this here. Yeah. We don't know as of right now, guys. It is Thanksgiving morning
we're in the dark,
me, right?
Completely.
And we have no idea if we're getting the DLC or not. We're going to get early access.
Yeah, I'm not being funny. It's how many days is it to the DLC? It's less than a week.
Yeah, I mean,
they told us there's no chance I'm getting it. Don't know about you, but they're not going to tell us 2 days before. It wouldn't be.
See, and this is where I'm going to say I got early access for Finland, and we got it. Literally, I think it was 2 days. I'm pretty sure it was 2 days, and we weren't told until the day that we got it. Like when we got it, we're like, "Hey, by the way, congratulations! Here's the DLC. Make sure to do this and use these criteria." This kind
of sounds harsh. I'd rather not have that because I'll be at work anyway. But also,
it was tough.
I can't. By the time I've downloaded it on the planet, I don't know. Like, this sounds stupid. I don't mind that, like, you can't release, but I actually also want to enjoy Liberation. Like, I'm going to do tutorials, but like a Conquest, I actually want to take my time.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, oh, I need to make 10 videos. I want to be like, all right, this is the first. I want to spend 40 minutes just running around with an M1 Garand shooting cows.
Well, see, and I have plans for release. I do have a plan for release, regardless if I get the DLC early. But if I do get the DLC early, all I'm going to do is focus on the research tree, Conquest, the little things, and do like videos on that, because that's something I can digest quick and also, send out a video. The only thing I don't want to do is force a video out too fast that like I miss something in it, or I didn't say something correctly, and then the fan base ends up seeing that and says, "Oh, Puggo, that's how World War II people are, right? Like, people are gonna correct you up and down for those things, which is fine, it's fair and all that. But that's what I'm saying is like we just don't know what's gonna happen in that. But I feel like Barbara Studios, we could be completely wrong about this, and I don't want to again, we love the game, and we're not trying to be entitled. I will as of right now. Well, no, as of right now, I'll say this for myself. As of right now, if Barbara Studios said, hey, we'll give you early access, but you got to pay for the game, I would do it in an instant. And I would follow all the criteria. I have no problem. I'm going to buy it either way. But I would love the opportunity to actually produce content for people, because I feel like a lot of people in the community watch us because we're the ones who teach. We're the ones who, our channels are heavily revolved around this game, and
all my top videos, apart from like one history one, are apart from maybe two, like Conquest Enhanced first ever episode and the odd campaign, they're all tutorials, artillery videos, gun videos. Before I even had a mic, all my biggest videos and my recent, basically all my ones that have shot up quick have been tutorials. Basically, pretty much, maybe the odd series one, but in my opinion, like our channels are there for kind of learning.
And from that point, I just want to say also with that, this is again not to complain or whatever. I'm saying that the guys that are really high up, in the YouTube, like for subscribers and all that, 80,000, 250,000, all these big guys, right? 100% they should get it first. 100% they should showcase it first, because they have the wider audience and can bring people in. But in terms of like giving us a grace period of like 3 days to like, hey, we get the game a week early. We can't release any content until 2 days before the game drops, 3 days before the game drops. That hype is going to bring the people who have shelved the game back into the fold. That's what I personally believe. I could be wrong.
Yes.
But like, that's how I view it. That's just how I view it personally. And yeah, but when that time does come, guys, we're going to give you, I just feel like, man, going back to my original point, the US market is huge. Everybody wants the red, white, and blue to play the game.
Population or waist size?
Both. I think they both matter. Let's be honest. Okay?
Just joking.
If they can pay for like 20 cheeseburgers in a week, then they can pay for this one game here.
But that's just Puggo's breakfast. DLC. He's basically like
well, no. It's all cheese. It's just straight up cheese curds. I'm Wisconsinite, man. So
wait. Don't tell him what state you're from. Oh, you're definitely getting spotted.
Oh yeah, that's it. Just don't say where. Okay, but he
lives in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
The White House.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah, man. Just don't go in the back corner where the Coke is. Okay, but
Cold Pop.
So let me think here real quick. I feel like we might be missing something, but
I think that's
about it otherwise. But
yeah, everything that kind of, like I say, this is the first episode of the podcast.
Yeah,
we're gonna be Ostfront gets updates but doesn't have major changes. Liberation's obviously going to be a shock to the system.
Yeah,
it's probably going to take us at least a few days to a week to digest it, and then by then there'll be heaps of stuff to talk about, because the Americans alone is like we could do an episode just on the Americans, I bet.
Yeah. Well, and then we've talked about it too, guys. Let us know what you want to hear from these podcasts as well. What exactly? One of the things we did talk about is doing an overview for like all the factions now. Once that probably won't be down the road. They'll probably be down the road. We'll do like Finland one time. We'll do Germans and all that.
The thieves.
Yeah, but we just need the thieves. We just need time to let the
podcast get organically adapt.
Right.
Yeah, it's the first one, but as we get into it, it'll be more flow.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's about pretty much it. You got anything else you want to say before we close her out?
Thanks for tuning in. I've really enjoyed chatting Puggo as always. It's nice that we can talk about Ostfront as well, because Yeah, we try and talk about it during the game, but we get distracted by the big explosion happens, or Puggo douches me.
Yeah, PTSD, baby.
I'm never letting that go. I'm never letting that go.
That's good. Make sure to watch that, guys. That video is going to be day 21. It's actually the season finale for our co-op campaign. Check that out. I do have a playlist for that. Also, check out Sir Jellybean's channel. A lot of you guys already know who he is, especially if you're watching this, whatnot. People are going to be coming into the market and seeing this content as well, so welcome in. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the new DLC and everything as well. So with that, so with that, guys, thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out for our first Pug and Beans podcast. This has been a blast.
Tasty.
Yes, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Bye-bye.